What's up, Change the Channel podcast listeners? My name is Megan Grace, and this is another episode of Change the Channel podcast. Welcome back to the episode. I am so over the moon about this conversation today. I am getting to talk to Madeline Evergreen. She is a podcaster. She is also a human design reader, which I absolutely love. I love her insights and her wisdom. And she also is a somatic breathwork facilitator and really has just made this beautiful journey from various forms of, it sounds like her body was going through a lot, and she learned a lot about herself through the process of healing her body. And now she brings that forward in one of the most easily digestible and wonderful podcasts, I think. So I'm just really excited to have you here, Madeline. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Megan, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. This is great. Is there any part of your bio or yourself that you're feeling most lit up about right now that you want to share?
Yeah, what a special question. I feel like I have like full body chills actually just thinking about my answer because in my past, I've talked so much about my health and how, human design or breath work or these different healing modalities has really changed my physical struggles that I've had for most of my life. But I have moved through so much of that it's so much like not top of mind anymore. I don't really sit in that story at all anymore. It's still a big part of my history, but lately things have shifted in a way in my life that are just so beautiful and surprising and unexpected and like incredible professionally, actually. Like my relationship with my career and my work is just so different. And it just sort of like popped up recently and like I became aware. And what I mean by that is I have been working since I was 14 years old. And I've been teaching actually since that age. I started learning to teach group fitness when I was 14. And I've been like very, very passionate about my work. But I've also been a person who's been very stressed a lot and very, trying to be perfect or trying to have this amazing career or these big classes or trying to be a really good teacher or a really good this and that. And I have had a lot of success in my past. And then since going through so much healing in the last number of years, and since also pivoting my entire career into what it is now with a focus on human design, a focus on breath work, and just completely changing the way that I approach career, all of a sudden, I'm having all of this wild success that I never even sought out or asked for or meant to have. And I've had so many people, so many strangers recently reach out to me and say like, oh, I learned human design first from you, and now I'm becoming a reader, or now I'm using this in my family, or I'm using this to help my children, or all of my friends and I have a book club and we're all focused on human design because we started with you. And that means so much to me, more than like anything, to hear that something that I have become obsessed with and shared is like impacting lives of people that I don't even know. And
That's
so
so
lately
powerful.
I'm just like, I'm just kind of having like a pinch me moment of like, whoa, what I'm doing is working.
What do you think's leading to that? Or what was there something that was maybe a part of your design or a part of your personality or something that pivoted this thing for you? Or was it truly a beautiful accident?
Well, it was not an accident in one sense, but also I didn't really ever know like what this was going to look like. Like I didn't really seek out the specifics of what my life is like now or my career. But what I do personally with my own human design is that I try to live according to my design all the time. Like whether I'm alone in private, whether I'm in my
Whoa.
work, whether I'm spending my money, whether I'm with my husband, like it doesn't matter to me what is happening in the moment. I realize that when I live according to my human design chart, I've learned for myself, it always works. Like it always leaves me feeling more energized. It always leaves me like going down a path of success or feeling healthier or being able to have more success with whatever I'm putting out. So, for example, one little thing in my chart shows me that I'm really built to be an inconsistent person. And so I thrive with a very non-consistent schedule and lifestyle. And so I have a podcast and I used to post on Wednesdays like clockwork and I never missed a day and I can be super professional and diligent with that and I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
make it
yeah.
happen. And then there was lots of episodes where I did not feel like recording or I just didn't
Mm.
want to do it, but I did it anyways. And instead of continuing with that behavior, almost a year ago, I just announced like, this
I
is really
remember.
ridiculous. Yeah.
I
Like,
remember the announcement. It was so freeing when you said that.
yeah, I was like, I don't understand why I ever thought that posting a podcast weekly means anything. Like who decided that? So I'm just not going to. Instead, I'm just going to post my episodes when I know it is correct. And I know how to recognize that myself. And so like I can tell. And I'm also a
Mm.
manifesting generator, which means that I need to be doing things because I'm attracted to doing it and I feel lit up in the moment of doing it. And
Yeah.
so, how I have gained success with those concepts is that I have trusted that if I just don't want to work today, I don't work. If
Whoa.
I
Okay.
need to,
Can we just pause that for a second?
Mhm.
That's really profound. I think a lot of people that listen to this podcast or in my community are either entrepreneurs, actors, creatives, authors, a lot of our own bosses, where no one's really fully telling you when you need to be places, maybe in little bits of things, but tell me about the reprogramming that probably went on to allow yourself to just decide, like, or to be able to lean into your authority and say,
Mhm.
today isn't a day for working. What was that journey like for you?
Wild, and I'm still on it. But it started with me practicing for like 3 days as an experiment to see what would happen. And this was when I
Mm,
very first learned human design, and I almost knew nothing. But I knew that I have a sacral authority, which for anyone that has a sacral authority, that means that you need to make a decision because something feels like a hell yes in your body and you're not
yeah.
shoulding. You're not
Uh-huh.
doing things out of obligation or because of arbitrary reasons that you aren't excited for. And so I did this 3 day experiment where in my job at the time, I just only did what I wanted. And I just didn't do a lot of the things that I should be doing. And I
Yeah.
watched very closely to see what's going to happen. And literally, everyone else was so much more energized. Everybody was happier in my life for those 3 days. I was happier. I was not tired. Tiredness is something I've struggled with a lot. I was
Hmm.
not tired. Um, I noticed like clients and other people I worked with didn't even know that I wasn't doing things that I should be doing. And
Wow.
everybody was in a better mood. Everything functioned better. And this isn't to say that like we can just let tasks slide and just slack off. It's not that. It's just that I was able to take a set amount of time, like 3 days, that's a safe amount of time to let things slide
Hmm.
and see. And I saw the result and I quickly realized I need to get my life in shape. Like I need to stop doing things I hate and start doing things because I want to do them. And then let me figure out how I can actually make my job like that. Let me figure out how
Wow.
I can make things healthy and functional that way so that I'm not just letting things
Hmm.
slide that need to be taken care of. And so I slowly chipped away at things, reshifted, adjusted stuff. And I just started telling people, I'm not doing that anymore. And it worked out.
Wow.
Like I really set up my life so that I'm in the driver's seat, and I pivoted into much more of a business woman role, much less of an employee role in my life, but slowly, safely for my nervous system. I didn't shock myself. I didn't do anything scary or dangerous. I took my time. And then I continue now that I'm really in 100% control of my schedule and my life and my job, and I don't have anybody telling me anything I have to do. Now I have to turn it around and do it to myself. And so I
Mm.
find every day where I'm shooting on myself. Oh, I should, prepare for this podcast. I should respond to DMs. Oh, I should do this. And then I go, hold on. Why? Is it because my heart is in it and my soul is in it? Or is it because I think there is some arbitrary benefit of doing that thing that actually
Yeah.
isn't real? And
Wow.
I've seen the result of my work when I don't want to be there. And those episodes or those posts or those emails, like, do not get engagement. And it's
Wow.
the things that I put out when I really want to do it that drive all this success. And I will gain like abundance from that. I will have a lot of readings booked from those episodes, or I will have a lot of new people in my world, or make a friend, or something will come
Mm.
from the content or the things I put in the world that stem from me wanting to do it. And I have attraction to it.
I
Does that make
love
sense?
that. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I think it's it's funny because I think at least my experience of human design is it's often so primal. It's often, I mean, I have a defined spleen and root, so like a lot of just baseline chugging along, this kind of stuff, like really makes a lot of sense to me. But it almost feels like stripping away a lot of the outside noise
Hmm.
and coming home to yourself and then witnessing how being yourself is actually really valuable. And I love too that in your list of things, it might be a client, it might be this, but it might also be a friend, or it might be, like maybe a really sweet conversation with your partner, or maybe, I think that sometimes this currency of what we're drawing to ourselves is, especially in business, it can feel like it only shows up in your bank account, but there's so many other ways to be able to test, I think, and see if we're in alignment. So I love that you
Yes.
shared that.
Yeah. And that's a huge, huge lesson that I try to get across to my students a lot, where, I teach a lot on manifestation and how we think that we get rewarded with money, like with a
Mm,
paycheck, or with like things that we want. Like, oh, I really want that car. And yes, money and things are great, and we should all have all of it. Wonderful. And that's all fake. Like
mm.
when you look at a squirrel does not have money or things. When you look at a tree, like they do not have a paycheck, but they have abundance. And
Yeah,
that's what I like to always go back to nature and think, how does this really
absolutely.
work? And like I can be rewarded in mysterious ways, like, yeah, a new best friend or a wonderful day with my husband. Like I see that as massive abundance, and a
Mm,
paycheck is also abundance. It's when I've been able to look at all of those wonderful things as equal currency,
hmm.
it's really opened up my ability to attract more.
I love that. Oh, that makes me so excited. I mean, I think you looked at my chart maybe, but
Yeah, I have it right in front of
I
me.
have so many open centers that it kind of feels a little bit like the world is consistently swirling around me. And so even getting to feel into you being in that energy, I like got this whole swell throughout my body. It was like
Hmm.
that's powerful. I had this image, this thought process, like I was trying to prepare. I'm a 2/4, so preparing is also silly in a lot of ways for me. And I'm also an inconsistent. So I was sitting with it, and as I was writing, it was like a projector, a generator, and a manifesting generator all sat down and tried to make a plan. And it sounded almost like the beginning of a joke to me. I'm like, um, so with kind of these ideas of like responding or waiting for the invitation, can you help me understand a little bit more about if you had a manifesting generator, a generator, and a projector all hanging out together? What would be, if everyone was in their alignment, how might a project come to be, or a vacation, or even an afternoon where everyone gets to stay in their own alignment?
Oh my God, this is like the funnest question. No one's ever asked me something like this before. So first, before I kind of set the scene, for people who are listening, if you have not looked up your chart, you can go to studiotimeout.com/human design, and then you just put in your birth information and you'll get your chart, and you'll see a little description that says like energy type. So that's what we're talking about right now, the energy types. So Megan, you're a generator. I'm a manifesting generator, and then we're going to pretend we have a projector there.
Yes.
And so let's say we're all like hanging out at the beach, because that's what you're doing right now.
I am hanging out at the beach. It's so fun right now.
That's where I want to be. So we're all going to be at the beach. We're hanging out at our beach house. We're on vacation. And there's so many different ways that this could go. So I'm just making this up off the top of my head.
I love
so
this.
Let's say like the generator is like, oh, I really want to go take this surf lesson. Like, you guys have to sign up with me. We're going to do like a week of surfing lessons. It's going to be so fun every morning. I can't wait. And then the manifesting generator, if they're excited about that idea too, they would say, oh my God, me too, but I'm only going to sign up for one lesson, and we'll see about tomorrow, because I might be bored of it by then, or I might not want to do that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And then the projector is going to be like, oh, you're inviting me to do something. Oh, and like, do I want to be involved? Do I have the energy for that? Does that align with me? Like, does that sound like something that will like fuel me and kind of bring me out? And they also might say like, actually, no, like I just want to chill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on the beach. I'll take some photos of you guys trying to surf, and I'm just going to sleep on the beach and relax. I don't need to be surfing, but thank you for the invitation.
Oh,
does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. I love that, because I have a couple of friends that are projectors, and we both just sort of sit with like, okay, so it's just us. There's like, I'm waiting to respond. So so in that scenario, let's say the projector, had something that they wanted to do. What is a way that this scenario could work where the projector is still in alignment, and how might the Manny, Jen, and Jen interact?
So projectors, they have that strategy of waiting for the invitation. So what that means is that they're meant to wait for people to ask them for their advice, their wisdom, their gifts, their talents. And so the example that I gave wasn't quite like perfection, and I'll explain why in a moment. But a projector can still invite others or ask others or say things without an invitation. So if a projector just like wants to do an activity, like maybe the projector wants to do a puzzle with you, they don't have to wait and hope someone invites them to do the puzzle, because that doesn't really have to do with them giving their advice, their wisdom, their gifts.
I see.
And so if they just want to, because it's a personal thing they desire doing, they can just say like, I'm doing a puzzle, and do you want to do it too? But if they wanted to give you some advice,
I see,
or teach you how to be really good at being a puzzler, and like, let me show you puzzle methods, and like, I'm going to guide you, like that would feel, people don't like that from a projector.
That makes so much sense.
It feels like unsolicited advice, or like you're, hovering and tinkering in my life. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think, and I could imagine too, with projector energy, being like, it almost seems like it takes a little bit longer to either like get the energy, and then the energy might be spent a little bit more quickly than, let's say, generators or mani-gens. The need for resting. Is that true?
In some ways, so projectors have an undefined sacral center. So if anybody's looking at their chart, if you just looked at it, there's a big square that's second from the bottom, and that's called the sacral center. And if you are a projector, that will be white. And that means that they don't really like create their own energy. Generators and manifesting generators like you and I, we have a defined sacral center. And so we create energy when we're excited, when we enjoy what we're doing, when we're happy and attracted to how we're spending our time. And so we create that energy. And then the projectors and also everybody else, the other people out there, receive the energy. We're like a generator for a building, but instead we're generating the people. We're creating power for humans, like life force energy. And so a projector that is spending time with an energized generator or manifesting generator can easily get very energized. And then they can almost get high off of that, or like this excessive, almost like an addiction to it, where a lot of projectors will actually go like way high energy when they're feeling that from others. And then when they leave, they crash.
That makes a lot of sense.
And they're like, why can't I stay energized? What is wrong with me? And nothing's wrong with them. And so to be a really healthy projector, or this could be a reflector or a manifester, to be really healthy with your energy, you want to notice when you're getting like pumped up around people and when you're like feeling it and you're like, whoa, I'm energized. And then just be a little cautious, like say like, this is great. Let me ride it. Let me experience this. And maybe let me like tone it down before I crash and let me like soothe out of that, or go home and carve out a bath time or a resting time or a me time so that I can come down and have had a beautiful high energy experience and then like slowly soothe out of it.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's beautifully put too, because I don't know if this ever happens to you, but as a generator, sometimes other people's ideas they'll get my head going. It almost feels like I have like a dry erase board in my head, and they'll say one input that feels like a quandary or a problem. It lands, and then I'll come up with 5 different solutions for it, just like out of my mouth. And I find myself sometimes, I think I overwhelm people potentially, but I don't know what else to do with the information. Like, do you think that is that a generator thing? Is that my open centers thing? Is that just a personality thing?
What I think that is with you, without like, I don't know you personally yet. And so what I think that is actually your undefined ajna. So the ajna, if anyone's looking at their chart, is that big triangle shape that is second from the top. And when it's white, like yours and also mine, and I can really relate to what you just said, when that's white, it means that your brain is meant to see like all sides and be super open-minded to like all possibilities. And also on top of that, you have an undefined crown, which is the triangle on the top. And so do I. Like we both have those two qualities. And so that crown on top, when it's white like that, it means that you can like receive a lot of inspiration and ideas from the outside. And so from other people that are around you. And so it's almost like you have a brain that's a sponge that sponges up everybody else's thoughts. And then you have like an inspiration and ideas portal that's coming from other people's inspiration and ideas. And so when you're spending time physically around people, when you're able to tap into this, it is kind of like being psychic or like a completely open vessel to opinions, judgments, ideas, possibilities, perspectives, like all things thoughts. And then those of us who have that, both the undefined ajna and crown, can feel like, wow, I can create all these ideas and I can like get my brain really turning. And then that's great. Like that's a really good skill, but the best thing that you can do with that is almost like make note of all of those ideas, go away, be alone so that you're not influenced by
Mm,
anyone's thoughts or energy at all, and then judge them all and decide, do I still like this idea? Don't I? Who is this for? Do I want this, or do I want to tell Jennifer about that? And what about this one? Oh, wait, I thought I liked it, but now that I'm alone, I hate that idea. Like you'll
ah,
really be able to sort through it once you get away from people.
I love
Does that
that.
make sense?
Oh, what a life hack. I mean, I feel like yeah, it really, I don't know if this feels like this to you, but when it's like when my sacral authority kicks in, I actually feel like a rocket ship. Like the other day, or actually earlier today, I was out playing in the ocean and I was like, I'm just gonna walk close to the ocean. And I was like, no, I'm gonna try to get closer. And then it was like one wave came in and then another wave came in on top of it. And like my pants were all wet, but I was just like, this feels like how life feels to me with a defined sacral authority. Like bring in all the waves. Just keep on coming.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yes.
yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I'm curious too. I've been talking to friends. This podcast is like our conversation. I was really hoping to like give you a chance to share more real world things and not have to be so much in the chart. But I love the
Yeah.
way that you're making it accessible for others. And I will put in the show notes the link to your podcast. If all of these words are going over your head, but you're like, wow, this sounds really amazing. And I kind of want to know more about this. Also, Madeline's voice feels like ASMR to my soul. I want you to find her.
Oh.
So I will put all of that in the show notes as well. But I'm curious too. I've been playing with the G Center, and I've noticed that you've been putting some more information out about the G Center. Can you talk a little bit about defined versus undefined? And in this current moment in time, it feels like, I don't know, identity and belonging are really top of mind for people. And so I'm curious how that might feel for people with a defined or undefined G Center.
Great question. So the G center is that big diamond shape in the center of the chart, and you have an undefined one, so it's white.
Hmm.
And when it's undefined, that means that you have a personality that can be really influenced by your environment. And this doesn't mean that you don't have a personality for yourself or you're just a nothing, but
Hmm.
you are a bit of a chameleon. It means that, if you are hanging out with one crowd of people, you could probably fit in fairly well and find a way to bring your authenticity still to the picture, but fit in. And then if you hang out with a completely different crowd of people over here, you could probably do the same and still like pretty much fit in.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone with a defined or colored in G center, that's what I have. Mine is defined. I almost like can't be in a room full of people that I really don't connect to. Like,
Mm,
or I can be there, but I'm incredibly uncomfortable and I look really awkward and I truly stick out. Like I should not be there.
wow.
Yeah, and I truly can't blend. Like I am me and I don't know how not to be. And I've been that
Mm,
way since I was a really little kid. And so what this means is that somebody with a defined G center, it's like who your personality is meant to be like incredibly clear and shown, and it's important for
mm,
this world that your personality is what it is and you don't bend and you don't adjust it. And then
mm,
somebody with an undefined G center like you, it's not so important about your personality showing up. What's more important is that you can like mix and blend and be with different crowds and be with groups and find the benefits of like fitting into them. And
mm.
again, that doesn't have anything to do with your point of view, your judgments, your perspectives, what you think about things. That's a different part of the chart. And so this
Wow.
isn't about like seeing all sides. That's something else. This
Hmm.
is more like being a social chameleon or not.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. And so
So
like with all the current stuff going on, do you want me to touch on
yeah,
that
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit?
Yeah.
Like
I
for
would love
me,
to know that.
I have a very, very, very difficult time actually spending time with people who see the world wildly different than I do. And it's not difficult for me because I don't think they should see it that way. It's difficult because I can't hide and it's so obvious what I am and what I
Mm,
think and how I live my life that I will stick out and it will have to be confronted and it will make people uncomfortable and it's hard, it's effortful for me. And so I find myself like struggling with a lot of the just all the
yeah.
opinions in the world going
Hmm.
around right now, all the division that's happened socially. That's hard for me.
Mm,
Mentally, like seeing the world in a certain way is not, but being with people who are like polar opposite of me is hard.
yeah.
Somebody with an undefined G center, though, like you might find like actually that's not so hard. It maybe feels healing to come together with people that are different, or it might feel beneficial or interesting or like colorful to be with
Mm,
groups or humans that are not just like me. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Okay, then so I'm curious. Let's say me with my undefined G center and you with your defined G center go. I feel like I'm starting all of these like a joke. Like we go, we go to a party, we go to a place. How could I, as an undefined G center, care for you if I notice that like what is the defined G center maybe need in that moment? Are they wanting to be like invited in? Are they wanting to be able to, and I'm sure this varies based on person, but also I just am always so curious. I've been this way ever since I was a little kid. If I notice anyone on the fringes, those are the first people that I'm the most interested in getting involved. And so
Yeah.
now I'm curious, like, is that actually like, is that supportive? Is that, does my question make sense or my thought
It
process?
does. My mind is like exploding. You have the best questions because I have a lot of personal experience actually with scenarios just like that. And I'm
Mm,
thinking through, like, oh, there was that time and there was this
hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So I'll just speak about myself because, yes, we're talking about the G center, but also this kind of question can involve many parts of the chart,
Okay.
many parts. So I'm just going to speak to my experience.
Love it. Yes. Yes. Tell me.
I I often am on the fringes and I'm like the awkward person on the side where I'm like, I don't know how to participate. Like if it's not like a perfect setting for me, it's hard for me. I'm super socially awkward. And so I love when a person comes over to me and they want to connect and they want to include me and they want to know who are you and why are you here or what do
Mm,
you like? Like I like it when I am on the fringes and someone helps me socially.
mm,
But what has been like something that has conditioned me to actually like really dislike a lot of social environments is when a person comes over and they try and manipulate the situation to force everything to work.
mm.
I've had people who try and like suppress parts of me so I'll fit in and say, "Oh no, she's not really this." And then they're trying to make me comfortable, trying to make other people
Oh.
comfortable when I'm like, "No, like I am this way. If you don't like that, I'll just be over here by myself, I guess." Like that's I prefer to like be fully seen for who I am, be
Mm,
fully accepted, but I might need like a hand holding to do it because I don't
yeah.
know how. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like as an undefined G center person, like you can really like sense who other people are.
Hmm.
And the best thing you can do is just honor them and help them bring that out and not try to help them fit in. Like
Mm.
really see them and reflect back like this is who you are and that's beautiful and you don't have to fit in at all and you don't have to make anyone comfortable.
I
You know what I
love
mean?
that. Yes. Yeah. No, it's so interesting here. I love, it's kind of what we're talking about. I love being around people that see things so differently, like in a room. And because another thing that's been really percolating in my mind the past couple days is about how much people are saying they want community. and that
Mhm.
community is important. I think it is. And I just feel like we don't, especially in the US, really know how to do community well. I think
Mhm.
this is a PhD in my own opinion moment, but like I just really feel like there is like this lacking ability to actually invite a true person's self in, and even to witness the parts of them that are shiny and beautiful and special, and to highlight those, and like, be a mirror for people's masterpieces. I think we're so conditioned to like look similar, or to shrink in certain ways, or to like, yeah, and then the discomfort of someone not being liked in the space, just it almost feels like we have no recourse for it. So it's like, shut that down. And I guess I'd never really thought about it in the human design kind of lens before, of like, as someone with a defined G center, a little bit jealous. So it sounds kind of nice to just know if a good spot is for you or not. Like, my curious brain wanders me down all sorts of rabbit trails and spaces and stuff. But it feels like what you were sharing is so valuable, to be like, invite people in, but don't edit who they are. And also don't require that if someone's on the outside of a space, maybe they're observing, maybe they're soaking in, maybe they're taking in inspiration, or deciding whether or not they want to be there, like, or whether they're
Yeah.
getting ready to leave. Like, this feels like a step up in our ability to care for each other well in community. And that to me feels important for finding more ways where we connect, and less where we're divided, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. And I love this concept because I've found that when I feel most connected to a person, it's usually when I'm able to just relax enough to see them for really who they are, and
Mm,
then do a little bit of like reflecting back to them of who they are. And not in like a weird way, like, oh, I see this in you.
yeah.
More like actually
You got the
listen.
voice. The voice was perfect. And all of a sudden just shifts into like, I am sinking into your soul. You're like, I don't know why I'm like a smooth jazz, like late at night operator when I'm going to tell you about yourself. Like, we don't need to do that.
No, no. And like how people crave being seen is literally listen to what the person is saying. Like if you're just chit-chatting, like you go to a yoga class and you guys are putting on your shoes and somebody is talking, l- show them that you really heard what they said and that you
Mm,
see them. Like I
hmm
was just talking to somebody today about her vacation. And I feel like it would be really easy for me to be like, "Oh, I've been on a vacation," and kind of
mm,
go into relating because we have something in common. But instead, it feels really special to connect to somebody by saying like, "Wow, it sounded like that trip you went on was really profound. Like that was 30 years ago and you still remember that? That's amazing.
mm,
I'm just so inspired now for my next trip."
mm,
And like to
mm,
actually reflect to the person that they did have a special time and what they said was heard and
mm.
seen and validated. Like that is one of the best ways to start building community just with whoever is around you right now. Like truly reflect to them what they're showing you.
Wow. Ugh, that's so beautiful. Again, it's like this, like, it sounds so simple, but we get out of the habit of it.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm curious too, in the realm of like caring well for each other. I'm enjoying this topic. Would you be willing to go through, and of course it's like a general idea and this could be personalized to people, but can you go through the types and maybe talk about general self-care advice that's sort of like spat out on social media that we're supposed to do, and talk about it in terms of how that affects each of the types? I know this is kind of a broad question, but I feel like there's I can only imagine, like, with your work and hearing so many stories of people, like, what are certain self-care advice things that may actually not work for some of the certain types. So then we can also care well for each other.
Yes. So let's start with generators. Generators are often struggling with like people pleasing or shoulding. And I say shoulding meaning like they're doing things because somebody said that they should.
Mm-hmm.
So like let's think of, maybe you can help me think of an example. Like what is something that's really popular that we should all be doing right now?
Oh God,
Like
journaling. People tell me
journaling.
to journal all the time, and I get
Perfect.
my whole insides are like, I will spontaneously combust if one more person tells me to journal.
Yes, perfect example. So let's say like you're trying to be like this aligned, healthy person and you're a generator and you keep hearing how you have to do journaling and then you have to do it in the morning for 5 minutes or even
That
more
part.
specific stuff. And if that excites you and you go, oh my God, hell yeah, like I'm so excited to do it. And when I do it, I'm so happy and satisfied that I did. That's how you know that journaling works for you. But if you're like, oh, journaling, it hurts my hand and I hate it. Like I don't know what to write. And it's so annoying. I don't look forward to it. And then like, then I don't do it. And now I feel bad about myself because I should be like, that's the
Mhm.
spiral that generators will go down and also manifesting generators, but specifically the generator part of them. And it won't work. Like if you try and force yourself to journal as a generator and you don't like doing it and it leaves you frustrated during or after, you will not receive the benefits of the journaling. And that goes
Mhm.
for all things. That goes for eating vegetables. That goes for cold plunging and exercise. Like if you as a generator are doing anything, including wellness activities that you should be doing, but you hate it or you don't want to, or it's just not leaving you feeling satisfaction, it will not give you benefit.
Mm.
It doesn't matter
Okay.
how healthy or proven it is, it will not work for you. So that's one
Okay.
thing. So then we move to manifestors. That's another energy type. Manifestors often struggle with like people pleasing again, but in a different way. Manifestors are here to get these like spontaneous urges to do something. Like they'll get like a seed planted in their mind and they're ready to take action. And often this urge they have will be a little bit random. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
unknown or new because they're truly here to birth newness into the world. And
Wow.
so most of the time, like these things they want to do are a little bit like, huh, to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so manifestors often can get into this trap of like, set up your perfect life routine and everything
Oh
has
my
to
gosh.
look like regimented and you always do it all the time. Like, you know, your yoga every morning and then your journaling and then your ice bath and it's got to be consistent
Yeah.
and these are all the things. And for manifestors, they're not so concerned about whether they want to do things or not, like a generator. They're a little bit more common sensey, where if it makes sense to them, then they do it. But they'll get this urge to do something else. And if they don't
Mm.
honor that because they think, no, no, I shouldn't follow my urge to take dance. I have to do HIIT classes. Or
Oh,
I
uh-huh.
shouldn't follow my urge to take a breath work training because I'm not into breath work. I'm into journaling or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need to stay in this box. And so if they don't honor their urges to do like the weird new idea they have, then they really suffer and they really miss out on the
Yeah.
glory of what they have to offer. Or if they're allowing other people's opinions about their idea to stop them,
Mm-hmm.
that's not good. And so we can get into a
Yeah.
trap like with mentors and teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I work
Mm-hmm.
with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people on their business, and a lot of times they'll say, like a manifestor will say, like, "Oh my God, I have this extreme urge to start this program, but my business coach says I need to keep doing what I've been doing because
Oh.
consistency is key, or you got to keep the momentum up, or
Yeah.
it's working, it's making money, so why do something new?" And that is not how it works for a manifestor. And so like this advice of like you got to keep doing things that were working and not like pivot, doesn't often work for manifestors. They've got to follow these
Yeah,
urges.
that makes so much sense. I love this. I'm thinking about one of my favorite manifestors, and the amount of just internal turmoil that this person will feel whenever they need to cancel something, or their body will go through these series of times of like getting really sick
Mhm.
and it taking a lot to bounce back from it, and needing times to rest and all of that. It kind of sounds like for a manifester, maybe they need also some time to just be bored or to be like
Yes.
unencumbered by like routine, so much so that they can be present to what else is going on. Is that true?
It's very true. And manifestors also do need large periods of nothingness. Like if
Mhm.
they could be fully in control of their schedule, that would be just the most amazing thing for a manifestor because when they want to do this new thing, this new urge they get, they go like balls to the wall and they will like pour their heart and soul and all their time and energy into it until they feel like, okay, crash in a good way. Like I'm going in my
Mm.
cave now. I'm going in my like get away from me, everybody, I'm alone time. And
Mhm.
it's very, very healthy actually for manifestors to operate that way, like a high production time into a zero production time. And in that zero time, or almost like that boredom, or
Yeah.
I don't have anything that I have to do time, is when their new like manifestation starts to bubble up and
Oh,
come through. And so if they're
wow.
always on some kind of like pre-programmed routine or schedule, it's very difficult for them to know they're having an urge.
That actually makes a lot of sense too when I think about uh again, a lot of like top words that keep coming. There's a lot of like, this isn't working. We need to build something new. We need to whatever. And we're also conditioning our manifestors to keep working 9 to 5 jobs and stay in a specific lane. And yeah, it does, it feels almost like even part of knowing each other's designs is like I don't know, one of the ways that I love to care for this friend of mine is anytime they need to cancel anything with me, I always say, I'm so glad you're taking great care of yourself. I'm excited for the next time we'll see each other. And even if it's months down the road, my initial greeting is always, I'm so happy to be here with you right now. Like taking away any of that guilt because we need their churning new ideas to keep us from same song, second verse. This one sounds a little bit worse kind of vibe is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes. And let's all like take a page from your book because it's amazing having friendships where you guys have that understanding where you say, like,
Mm,
I understand if, and you don't even have to explain if you don't want to hang out and it's last minute and you're canceling, great. Like
yeah.
you please honor that.
Mm,
The
I love
world,
that.
I would love a world that everything operates that way.
Right?
So,
It's so weird to me how professional or good friendship or reliable has become this like I don't know, this overarching thing where the more I've learned about human design, the more I realize how much need for nuance there actually is and how much beauty comes when people are allowed to have spaciousness. They're allowed to check in and say, I don't have anything in me to give right now, even if I promised I would show up to hang out or work on that project or stay late that day or like whatever. I
yeah.
don't know. If I had my wish, I would love to make it, abolish this idea of it being less professional to need adjustments.
Totally. Totally. And even like it's interesting you asked me before we started recording, how are you really doing? And I shared like actually I'm like really exhausted. I'm very excited to be here
Hmm.
because this like guesting on podcasts is one of my favorite things to do and I know from my past that it's always energizing.
Hmm.
But I'm really looking forward to doing nothing for like at least 2 days as soon as this is done. Like,
Hmm.
I know I need to retreat now. And
Yeah.
I've finally gotten to a point where I'm like 95% proud of myself when I do that. And of course, I still have these creeping thoughts the whole time when I'll be resting over the weekend where I'm like, ooh, I should be productive. Ooh, I haven't done anything.
Mm,
And we are probably like all going to struggle with little creeping thoughts like that, but they do begin to go away when you look right at them and you say, that's not true. And there's no reason why I have to be productive all of the time. And again, let's
mm,
look at nature. I'm going to look out my window and there is a bunny just sitting on the ground, not doing anything. That is nature. There's a reason
mm.
that we are not all productive all the time.
I
But
love
it
that.
is challenging when we have like society and
Mhm.
jobs and a life that's set up this way. And I think that more and more people are busting that down and realizing that that is not the future.
Yeah. Bless. Okay, great.
Mhm.
So we've
Okay.
got generators, manifestors.
Yeah. And then for manifesting generators, you can kind of just put those two together. Like
Okay.
they need to follow what's exciting to them and what they actually want to be doing. Plus, they're going to get these urges that are going to pull in all this variety. So,
Mm,
manifesting generators are known for being very like multi-passionate people that want to
yes.
do a wide variety of things. And when we see this advice of, again, consistency or you got to stick out something for the long run type
Hmm.
of advice, ooh, like not good advice for a manifesting generator because they know like their body knows when it's time to pivot or adjust
Mm,
or pull in something new or drop something old and it's almost always going to be unconventionally at the wrong time. Like they're going
yeah.
to finish something early or they're going to start something late and that's usually correct for them if they're truly following their like random
Yes.
urges.
Beautiful. Okay.
hmm So then projectors, totally different. Um, Projectors are known for needing quite a bit of rest and downtime, and it's not because they're weak or they don't have any energy. Part of the reason is because they have this ability to be extremely efficient in a short amount of time. Like the
Mm,
projectors that I know could do a full day of work in like an hour or two.
mm.
And then they're not crashing and they need rest. It's just that their sort of nature is to be in observation mode, which means you must be calm and
Ah,
like ready to take in things with your senses and not be a
yeah.
busybody.
That's so
Make sense?
interesting. Yes, yes, yes. Because even like as a body worker, I'm thinking about the nervous system and the way that, we keep the frontal cortex online to take in new information is by down regulating things and allowing
Mhm.
the nervous system to be supple. So
Mhm.
it sounds to me like the push and do, and then the retreat and sort of like, okay, now I'm allowing, I'm moving out of the lizard brain. I'm into the frontal cortex. I'm allowing myself to like soak in what's next to happen is kind of that rhythm. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's
Cool.
exactly what I'm saying. And so it's kind of a misinterpretation when people think projectors just have to like sleep all the time. Maybe they do if they're really burnt out and they've been living a little out of alignment, but really projectors are like they are working 24/7 because they're here to be the observers. And so they
Mm,
need to be relaxed and calm and not so busy in order to be able to take in the
right.
observation so they can form this special, unique perspective that they're bringing to the world. And so,
Cool.
one thing that could be like really harmful for projectors is to hammer in this idea of like, you need to put in the hours for anything,
Oh, uh-huh.
even for self care. Like, projectors do not need to put in the hours, they need to
Yeah.
like do something efficiently and then have a lot of spaciousness to like receive the moment.
Mm, wow. I love this.
hmm
This is so helpful too to kind of have the concept because also I think that different people recharge and observe differently, right?
hmm
Like I think my dad is a projector. Was trying to like And my dad is like, go, go. He's always working, he's always doing stuff. But it's usually like particular repetitive things that I know he enjoys doing. And so he kind of will like pop in and out and have these ideas about stuff. And I was like, this is so weird that that's his thing. I never would have guessed. But now after knowing that, it's like, oh, so maybe we that are not projectors can then be like, um, notice people's body language, I guess, if they're in a space of retreating. Also maybe be kind if they're not responding to text messages right away, or, and I think we should do that to
Yes.
everybody, but also maybe the mantra in the mind is like they're in a space of observing and bringing in new information. I'm excited for whatever they'll choose to share with me next.
Hmm.
And so maybe in that reintegration with a projector saying like, oh, what like what's top of mind for you right now? What have you been playing with? Like what's alive in your world kind of thing. So
Yeah. And to even take that a little further, the best way to love on a projector and make them feel so appreciated is to ask them, like, what do you think about this? Or what
oh,
advice do you have about blah, blah, blah? And like, I have some projectors that I'm very close to in my life. And when I ask them a question that allows them to be invited to share their opinion, I watch them and I'm like, like they are so happy and you can just see it in their face and in their voice and in their body that finally somebody wants to hear
mm,
what their brain is thinking, whatever
yes.
opinion they have or whatever perspective they have. And even if I actually don't really want advice in the moment, I pick something that I'm like safely available to hear.
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
and it's a way for me to love them and to have them shine and share in a way that they are born to. But what
Love that.
happens for a lot of us in friendship or relationship with projectors is that we get sick and tired of their unsolicited advice. So we like avoid having them share
Mm,
anything. And then they feel more and more and more suppressed, and we create further tension. And so I
wow.
think it's so loving to invite projectors to literally say anything they think. It doesn't even have to be something's important to you.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Mhm.
that. Oh, this is so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So then we
reflectors.
have
How do we care well for our
reflectors.
reflectors?
Oh my goodness. I just love reflectors.
Me
So they're very
too.
rare. There's about 1% of the population are reflectors, and reflectors are here to be a mirror for society. And so they really, really show us what's going on with us. And so the
Mm,
easiest and quickest way for me to explain this, because it's actually pretty complex, but the easiest way is to find a reflector that you know. And if you do not like them, it's because you don't like that part of yourself. And if you love them, it's because you love that part of yourself. Okay, so that's how reflectors operate. They are a
Okay.
mirror for everyone else. They do have definition in their chart. Like they are a person, they have individuality and uniqueness, but generally they are showing the outside what is real, like just a pure reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do I even start? Like, let me, maybe you can help me think of an example of like some advice that you might hear online or something and how that might
Yeah.
apply.
Um, it's funny. I have a friend that's a reflector, and we jokingly have nicknamed me the reflector protector because I just am always
Mm,
like, I just want to like, I only want the best people coming into your space because your energy is so special. I feel like when I've heard her talk, there's almost this, um, there's like a need to answer things quickly, or
mm,
also like conciseness. I feel like there's a big push in our no one can pay attention to anything at all. So make your content as tiny as possible so people can like take it like a capsule. And
yeah.
I almost feel like when I've witnessed her go through these journeys of stuff with her work. She's an herbalist and just a brilliant mind. I've witnessed her kind of lean into more email and like long writing,
Hmm.
because she has a lot to say. And I think that this like be that it girl doing this, that, whatever. I'm wondering if that's kind of something, but as I'm talking, is there
Yeah.
anything else that's coming up for the reflectors in your life?
Yeah, well, I think everything that you said is really spot on. And also, I think that this drive to like label yourself and have an identity and take a side and
Mm,
be like clear on who you are is really detrimental to reflectors because
mm,
reflectors, again, yes, they are an individual. They do have like a solidified them,
yeah.
but they're also incredibly fluid. And for a reflector to have to like say like this is who I am always and I'm like
Yeah.
going to be this way is impossible. And they need to be able to try on almost like different costumes and
Mm,
feel into things. And yes, like slowness and a little bit longer form can often fit a reflector. However, I also know actually of some like more influencery type of
mhm,
like it girl reflectors who uh do it well for them and they have
mhm.
almost like a comedic quality to them where they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
don't take it serious and they can be quick and they can be snappy and like that kind of like attraction way that it seems to work on social media, but they have like a whole other strategy going on in the background of their business. They are like a fluid person still. And
Mm,
so it can be very stressful for a reflector, though, especially in these times with like all the politics
mhm,
to have to
mhm,
say,
mhm.
like, this is my side
Yeah.
and this is it. Like, no, like they're probably going to really see all sides and really feel everyone's
Mhm.
pain and everyone's joy and want to like be a part of all of it.
Yeah, I know. God, I just love reflectors.
Hmm.
I'm always like, shout out to you. Thank you for all that you're doing that no one sees behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I love too that there's nuance in in all of the types because we're all individuals. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just like was realizing, um, you know, e- even I think for me sometimes, I don't know, maybe you can shed some light on this for me. I really thought I was a manifesting generator for a long time because almost I'll get an idea and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to like do this thing." And then I'm like, "Okay, but this needs to happen and I'm going to do this. This makes sense." Or I want to include people in this way or whatever. I'm curious, this is totally off the other topic, but now I'm curious with my chart, is there a reason why? Because for generators, they say you're supposed to pick a lane and stay in it. And
Hmm.
I'm really not great at staying in lanes. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like peeking through your chart for a second because it's such a good question. So, first, I want to say a lot of generators do say the same thing
Oh,
to
okay.
me. A lot of them bring up that exact, almost way that you described it. And I think that how you're describing it sounds to me more like, again, you have this undefined ajna and crown. So you are going to be bombarded with ideas.
Okay.
But those ideas they're not all coming from inside. You'll still have ideas that come from inside because they're going to be more like instincts or intuitions and whatnot. But when you have an undefined ajna and crown, you really do experience like an overwhelming flood of ideas. And a lot of them can feel so exciting that you want to take action on them. And then it
Hmm.
almost feels like you're a manifesting generator because you have this like sporadic variety.
Hmm.
And you don't have to like pick a lane and stay in it forever as a generator. Um, I was just doing a reading for someone today, kind of on the same thing. You, it's more that for a generator, you're honed in on your attraction and your desires and what is satisfying. And that is what you should be spending your minutes and your days and your hours doing. Like, do
Okay.
what leaves you satisfied. If it means you want to pivot your career, fine. If it means you have some new ideas, great. But for manifesting generators, how it's different is that we are the fastest of all of the types. So what that means is that we get like the life lesson really quick from
Oh,
something. And so you get life lessons in literally everything in life. And so I could sign up for a sewing class, like an 8-week sewing class, Monday nights for 8 weeks. I could sign up for that as a manifesting generator. And probably on week 2, I'm going to get the karmic lesson I was supposed to get out of that sewing class. And my soul is like, move on, like
I
done with
see.
that, move on. It's not really about like, if I want to do sewing or not. It's a little bit different. It's more like I get this soul urge of like, it's time for something else. I'm
Mm,
over it.
that makes
Does
a
that
lot
make
of sense.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost the cycle completion. It's the like,
Mhm.
okay, like it's a wrap. I know what this is about. I've grappled with it enough times. I figured this out.
Yeah. And also for the manifesting generators, they always take a piece of that lesson and they bring it to the next thing. And so it can be very metaphorical, but it can also be
uh,
literal. Like if someone that knows me sees like my career now and they know of all the careers I used to have, I'm doing all of them actually. Like I pull in
mm,
pieces of all of those things and they
mhm.
kind of like skill stack, but they also like life lesson stack.
I see. I see.
And
Ooh,
generators are different because generators need to respond their way out and into things. And so
I
for a
see.
generator, like if they're in a sewing class, it's not a good idea for a generator to just like quit because they're bored. They almost need to respond like, oh, it's a hell yes to this other thing that's going to crowd out the sewing class.
I see.
So it's a default exit.
I see. Whoa.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. I feel this like my whole left arm is tingling. That's so
Mm.
helpful because I know for me sometimes I know something isn't right for me, but I don't know what's right for me yet. And I notice that, I'll have friends that are like, "Are you going to do that thing yet? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that?" And I'm like, now I just feel pressure. I know that this is ending, but I don't know what I'm choosing into yet. And so it makes me feel like I need to stay there longer.
And this is a very important thing. Like, I feel like the concept we're getting into right now is one of the most magical parts of human design ever
Ooh,
for
okay.
generators. So, listen up, everybody. So, when
Ready.
a generator creates a void, you have a nothing, that is the most impactful way for you to manifest and attract the next thing. But you can't really attract something new or better as a manifester if that space is already filled. And
Mhm.
so if you are like, oh, I'm like kind of wanting the next phase to come in, or a new friend, or a lover, or a
Mm.
sweater, or a career thing, like I feel like I'm on the precipice of the next new thing and I want it to come in. Well, if that is filled right now fully and you're like totally committed to a lesser version of it, well, the universe is like, oh, she's already got it. So we're not sending her anything new. She's full. So you want to create
Ah.
voids in your life as a generator where, like, you tell me actually, Megan, what is something right now that you would like to call in? You want
Mm.
new to come in.
Yeah, I am really I've been feeling a desire to live somewhere new. Um, and I also have been feeling kind of this percolation of a lot of the different elements of my work that I do, and I feel like I want it to take on a different form. I almost want to have like, I don't know, like move from being um kind of in the roles that I have been in to being more of like channeling some more of my two fourness. Like I love to be a problem solver and I love to have conversations and like emote and pull things out with people. Um,
Yes.
and and I'm feeling this thing where I'm like, but I have all my training and this stuff, and I don't know how to even move into something else, which feels like the first step to me getting to choose to live somewhere else too. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? This
It
has been a
does.
cycle. I've been chasing my tail around this for a while. So thanks for asking.
Yeah. And so with things like that, those are like complex topics, and you can start to brainstorm like, how can I create voids in my life of those things so I actually don't it's not going to be comfortable or fun. It's not going to feel good, but like I have an emptiness to those things
Mm,
so that the universe can start sending me options to fill it with. And so it's a little difficult with things like a home or where to live because you don't want to just start living in the street so you have no
hmm.
home.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
you can do is first, do not settle on or like force a move. Like, do not say, like, I just really want to change locations. So I'm going to make it happen. Like, I'm going to find it and I'm going to do it. Like, that
Hmm.
is not good energy for a generator. It's also not going to be ideal if you get real comfy, cozy, and happy where you are and
Mm,
like nest and like embrace your current location very, very fully because you're kind of signaling like, this is where I am. My feet are planted and I am
mm,
fully like embracing it and like committed. So instead, you want to almost feel these voids. Here's a really simple example to like such a complex topic. My husband and I have this couch and we've been thinking of moving it to our basement.
hmm.
And yesterday, I was like, "Well, we can't do that yet because then we won't have a couch in the living room, and it's just going to be empty, and that's weird." And then
Oh.
he goes, "But wait, aren't?" And he's a generator. He goes, "Aren't we supposed to create a void so if there's no couch there, it'll get filled?" And I was like, "Oh, duh!" Like, yes, that's literally how it works. You like leave it empty. It's uncomfortable and
Uh,
awkward, and you don't really like it. And then truly, like if we did that, I would not be surprised if all the couches start presenting themselves as options.
mhm.
You
I
know what I
love
mean?
that. Yes.
And
Yes.
it works for all humans. Like that works for everybody, but that is literally how generators operate. Like it is in your like user manual of like this is how it works for a generator. You need a void, you then the options come, you respond. If it's truly a hell yes, it'll be like the best thing ever. If you
Oh.
respond to things that are mediocre, you're going to keep attracting mediocrity.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, great. Maybe Madeline, that's why I was like, come on the show, help me with this.
Maybe.
I'm also really curious too. Now selfishly, I was excited for everyone to get a little treat, but I also still have like some things in my own chart I've been playing with. I'm really interested in, for example, the compare and contrast of my incarnation cross versus your, which essentially is just talking about like life's work or
Hmm.
purpose. I think is what I understand. And so I have felt some curiosity about mine. I have one of the gates of like the needing things to have purpose. So everything, my mind's always trying to find purpose in everything. But I'm curious about your incarnation cross versus mine and some things when you see mine, what are some ways to know that I'm fully embracing that or using that? Or I'm thinking maybe you can, tickle my brain in a different way about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So the incarnation cross is a gigantic topic, and I'm for sure going to answer the question. But just know that it often takes about a half an hour to actually explain one person's
Okay,
incarnation cross. So it's
perfect.
like,
That's
it's a
fair.
lot of information to wrap your mind around. And what it really is it's four of your gates. It's your four most important gates kind of summarized all together. And then what this means is it's like the point of this incarnation for you. The purpose of this
Mm,
lifetime is
hmm.
kind of a squashed summary of those four big gates.
Okay,
And so you and I don't have any of the same gates in
that's
our
fun.
incarnation cross. We have some of the same ones just in our chart, but not in the incarnation cross. And Your life theme is technically it's called right angle cross of service. And what that means is that you're really here to like help people get their life together so that the world can be a better place. That's like
Mm-hmm.
a very brief summary of
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing in this life. Like you're a helper and you know like how to make things better and what people could do for improvement. Let me just peek at some of these other ones. You are very fair-minded, like you can see things for what it is without you like putting on your own version of rose-colored glasses. You really understand that everybody is important and nobody is
Mm.
better or worse than other people, and that authority figures are not actually an authority over a person. Like you're here to kind of teach people about their own power.
Mm.
You're really here to see things that are just like meh and make them better
Oh, I
and like
love.
elevate stuff. And you also have this ability to like wait and be grounded and sit in the stillness until you feel like it's time to take action. Like you
Oh,
have like
okay.
a stillness and a patience kind of built within you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that feels very true.
Yeah. Just from the time we've talked now, I feel like that seems like you. That
Yeah.
seems really spot on. And then for me, my incarnation cross is basically telling me like use your intuition for literally everything.
Whoa.
And yeah, and that's been so fun actually for me because I've fully trusted that and I have very deeply connected with my intuition and found I've been fine tuning my ear for it. And I have a little
Ooh.
story. I have a little story actually.
Okay. I love a little story. Tell me more.
It's very related to the times we're in. No matter what
Perfect.
anybody's opinions are. This is not about my opinion. This is about my intuition.
Uh-huh.
So I've always been very intuitive, but I think I'm also like a highly emotional person and I have a lot of opinions and it's all been swirled. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, like digging into my life theme about my intuition, um, I've been having more of these things happen which kind of feel almost like psychic premonitions in a
Ooh.
sense.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I'm finding when it's that and when it's actually like my emotion and a difference. I knew what was going to happen with this election.
Yeah, same.
Like
That's
all
wild.
summer,
Oh, way, way, way back then.
I I literally was like, oh, done. Even since spring, I've just known like, oh no, he's going to win and it'll happen in one day. Because
Whoa.
everybody in my world has been predicting and thinking and saying, oh no, it will never just be a one and done. It's going to be drawn out for months again. And I don't know. I just knew intuitively this is what it will be. And
Wow.
I've had more and more and more things like that that often to me feel like silly. Like, why would I need that? Like, why do I need to know that? But I've been able to kind of like fine tune and be able to really hear what my intuition actually sounds like personally. And it's by me kind of digging into these different gates that are in my life theme and really
Mm-hmm.
practicing those and deconditioning them and pulling them out. And so it's fun. It's fun when you learn your life theme and you like start to try it on and really do it.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. I want you to be able to rest. And I have one more of my favorite, like, I mean, I'm sometimes a silent, sometimes more chatty fangirl of a lot of the stuff that you do. But one thing that you've talked about that's made a huge difference to me is the difference between a specific and non-specific manifester, because
Hmm.
that's another thing that I feel like people tell me to manifest and they tell me to journal, and both of them make me angry. And so I'm like, wh- I know I can't be the only one. And so I want to kind of change the channel on these big words like manifesting so that people can actually get something out of it and be able to have some freedom and feel empowered, like my life theme, I guess, to feel like they get to be the boss of their life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is exactly how I got hooked on human design is this literal question. Like that's the first thing I ever learned was about specific or non-specific manifesting. And in fact, like, this is so my thing. This is what I teach. This is what my whole like group coaching program is about, is literally like your human design chart does tell you exactly how manifestation works for you, not for all people. And there's many approaches, there's many methods, there's many styles and ways that we can all manifest. But first, I just want everybody to be clear that manifestation is a 24-hour thing that happens whether you try or you don't. It's like gravity. You can't do it. You can't like turn on manifestation and then turn it off. It's always happening. And when you look around the room right now, every single thing in your reality that you see and touch and even that you feel, all of everything, you manifested all of that. Good, bad, and ugly. There it is. You attracted it. And so that's how manifestation actually works. And then there are things that we can intend to do, like we can put our intention in a specific way to help it along, to help manifest what we actually prefer and not what we don't prefer.
Okay.
And so you said you're a non-specific manifester, and everybody is either specific or non-specific. And just to be clear for everyone right now, in this moment, when we're talking about manifester, we are not talking about the energy type of a manifester. We're talking about people that are manifesting.
Yes, okay? Yes.
It can get really confusing. So not the energy types. This is all people. So as a non-specific manifester, which is what I am as well, this means that you are built to be a little bit surprised by how your manifestations turn out, or how the things that you attract into your world end up looking. It's supposed to be like a surprise. So my favorite way to describe this is to think about the universe is your boyfriend, okay? And he's going to be the one to give you your presents or your manifestations. And as a non-specific manifester, he wants to know, like, what are you into? Like, what do you enjoy? Who are you? And then let me surprise you with a gift. What do you desire? Like, how do you feel? Like, he doesn't want you to say, like, here's my list of birthday presents that I want. Like, that will kind of be ugly to him and be like, oh, that's not very cute. Yeah. As a specific manifester, so not you or me, it's the opposite. It's like the universe wants to know your list, and the universe wants to give you exactly what you want. And so for all of us non-specific manifestors, the way that we can participate in manifestation, if we want, is to stop focusing on any details and start focusing on how we want to feel. So if you think you want something specific, like you think you want to live at the beach, that's a lot of details, actually. And if you go and you manifest that and you live at the beach and you're a non-specific manifester, it will be underwhelming and it will not be as good as it could get. Okay? Because you're not supposed to be able to see it. You're not supposed to be able to know how it's going to turn out as a non-specific manifester. And so what you would do is you would ask yourself, why do I want to live at the beach? What does that give me? Oh, it makes me feel like I'm connected to nature, and that makes me feel expansive and connected, or whatever emotional kind of energetic words you can think of. And then you go and manifest those words. You go and manifest connection to nature and feeling expansive and warm, whatever.
Got it.
And then guess what you'll get? Something that you did not expect, that's way better, that is so perfect for you that you never could have pre-planned.
I really do resonate with that. I feel like some of it's almost like the stories that you tell when you meet somebody new and you want them to know about you. It's I don't know, at least for me, it's always the like, and then I lived in Alaska for a while, and then I did this job that was kind of weird, and then my friend gifted me this beautiful space at the beach that felt very much like it came out of nowhere. But I think I'd been saying I want peace and joy so bad right now. And I want peace and joy, and I want to be able to feel my own feelings for a minute, just to catch my breath. And then the next thing I knew, it was like, do you want this thing? Within like a day, I'm like, oh, I do. You're right. I really do want that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, the non-specific manifestors do kind of have to go against a lot of popular manifestation advice.
Okay.
And Yes, everybody actually has the power to manifest specific things. But again, for a non-specific person, it'll be underwhelming and you're not really like tapping into your true abilities to attract an amazing life.
Yeah, no one has any time for underwhelming. We
Mm-mm.
do not have time to be overwhelmed or underwhelmed, Madeline.
I completely agree. And then I do want to just say one more thing because I
Yes,
get in
yes,
trouble
yes.
a lot with this and people like really twist up a lot of these words. For the specific manifestors, yes, you are built to know like specific details of what you want and you're built to like attract those things.
Mhm.
But you too will often be gifted with something better than you could have ever expected. But it came as a result of you like going after those specifics.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
And so sometimes people manifest this amazing thing that they didn't mean to. And then they're like, oh, darn, Madeline, I did it wrong. Like, I'm a bad specific manifester because I got something else. And I'm like, but isn't this better? And like, you only got it because you thought you wanted these little
Yeah,
details. And then, so everybody actually gets surprised. But it's a
yeah.
matter of like your focus. Like the non-specific people zoom way out big picture. Specific people zoom way in more detailed. And that helps to attract what they deserve.
I love that. I love the idea of the zooming. That actually makes it feel more like a game. I have the joy junkie gate, so if something isn't fun or funny or a game to me, I'm very apt to choose out of that. So this makes me want to do manifesty things, like, which is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun, especially like it works. And so when you see it work like on command, it's very fun.
Oh, I love that. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, you are even more delightful in person than I even imagined. I feel so, 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 so grateful for your time and your wisdom and your heart. And I'm just so grateful too that you're in this uptick in your business and able to speak from this place of like, this is working. This is all of this work that has been working. And what is one thing that you're doing right now with your clients that you're really excited about in case anyone is excited and wants to tap into something new that you're doing? I'd love to be able to hype whatever cool thing you're doing right now.
My favorite thing that I'm doing right now is called Manifest with Madeline. And it's a month-to-month group coaching program on how to manifest according to your human design. So it's like an extremely deep, in-depth version of what we're actually just talking about.
Hmm.
At the moment that we are recording this, the doors are not open, but the waitlist is always open. And so if anybody wants to check it out, read about what it's like, get on the waitlist so that you can get in probably in a couple months here. You would just go to studiotimeout.com/MWM, like manifest with Madeline.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's just my favorite thing. I love it. My students get so much benefit and it's just such a cool experience.
I love that. Great. So I will put again all of that info in the show notes so people can connect with you, can connect with me and the work that I do as well. And I really hope this conversation was a bit of a treat for everyone else as well. I feel like I could probably just keep chatting about this for hours because it's so special and great. So thank you again so much for agreeing to be on the show and for spending time with me and sharing, just sharing.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This was truly like really energizing, which is always just so great for me as a manifesting generator. So thank
Yay.
you.
Yay for energizing. Awesome. Well, take such good care and until we talk again soon. I just hope that you enjoyed as much as I did this conversation and that hearing a little bit more about human design just helps open up your mind to the idea that your version and way of changing the channel may look so different than other people around you. And that's okay. That is literally how you are designed to be. If this conversation about human design got your mind spinning a little bit, you want to learn more about your own design, Down in the show notes, there is a link to be able to get your free human design profile. And if you start wondering what all of that means, there's also a link to connect to Madeline and a link to connect to me as well. We both love to help people understand themselves more and also utilize this beautiful tool of human design for you to also be changing the channel in your world your way. Thank you again so much for being here. And this was another episode of Change the Channel podcast.